What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another episode of In the Kitchen with Retro. Got my ingredients out here. There's a can of pumpkin, some flour, baking powder, some cinnamon, baking soda, and on the top there I got some ginger. Those are like real pieces of ginger, not ground up. Today in the kitchen I am making a pumpkin dream cake with a banana cream cheese frosting. How's that sound? Intriguing? Stay tuned. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're back here, ready to get our dry ingredients in the bowl. Now I will say, I did get the inspiration for this recipe from Natasha's Kitchen. She's a big channel on YouTube. However, I am adding my own twist to what she did. Okay, so I guess her recipe is like my foundation, but I'm adding a few things of my own that she didn't, that kind of I think will make it nice and scrumptious. Okay. All right, so the first item is 2 cups of flour. Next, we need 1.5 cups of sugar. Now, I don't use regular sugar for my baking and whatever baking or cooking. I use this xylitol. Okay, it's like a sugar substitute. From what I've seen, it's just, it's better for you than sugar. I guess it has like a lower glycemic index, so it doesn't like spike your blood sugar as much. So that sort of thing. Alright, so we're going to do 1.5 cups of this. So yeah, I keep that and then my powdered sugar in my sugar container there. Okay, next we got 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I mean, Arm & Hammer's the famous brand, but your store brand will do. I just got the Kroger brand here. Then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. That's about right. And then my touch that I'm adding is the ginger. Natasha didn't put ginger in hers, but I am. Now this is not your typical ground ginger. This is like little pieces. Like I'll open it up and show it to you. So if you can see that. Yeah, those are just bigger chunks, basically. So it's basically going to give them more robust flavors, as my goal and my thinking. So I'm just going to put like a big pinch in there for you guys that dip out there. You'll, I'm just doing a big pinch there. That's about it. Okay. Yeah, I never picked up that habit. Nasty habit from what I've seen. But hey, to each their own, right? So, now just gotta whisk it all together. So yeah, whenever you're doing a cake mix, or typically you do your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients separately. Just that way you get everything mixed, nice and thorough, right? This music's pretty cool. There's all kinds of stuff on YouTube But yeah, I'm a Castlevania fan. Love the retro games. Love the retro Castlevania games. So I also, one of the music was one of the good things about it. It had really good music in the games. I played up until on the PlayStation 2 Lament of Innocence. That was like the last Castlevania game I got into. I actually really liked that game. Okay, it looks pretty there. Let's give it a smell. Okay. So now we're going to go put our wet ingredients together. Alright, so we're ready to do our wet ingredients now. First thing I'm going to do is the eggs, okay? Try not to get the shell in there. Now here's a pet peeve of mine, right? I've seen people do this, and I used to live with people that did this. When it comes to eggs, putting the broken shell back in the container. Now I'm doing it here because I only got the 3 eggs here left. I'm talking about when you got a full dozen of eggs, and let's say I used 3 eggs, right? And then they would put the broken shell back in the container with the eggs that's still not used yet. That's cross-contamination, people, okay? Food safety 101. Some people, you just can't tell anything, you know, and it ain't worth the argument. But yeah, that used to freaking burn me up when I'd see people do that. It's like, like in this case, yeah, it's fine because I only got the 3 eggs in the container and I'm throwing it away. But if you got, like, you know, more eggs still in there, don't put those broken shells with the you know, your eggs that's not used yet. Throw the eggshells just directly in a trash can, right? That's all you do. So yeah, important safety tip there. We don't want cross-contamination. All right, so let's proceed. Oh, I did get a little shell down in there. I see it now. All right. There we go. That was a better crack and dump. And yes, use the whole egg, not just the yolk. So yeah, there you go. So now, since I just used the 3, it's done, and I can pitch it into file 13 there. Boom. Okay, next ingredient is our can of pumpkin. That's well, first gotta wash the hands. Don't want, because whenever you do handled eggs and handle raw eggs like that, you are gonna like have it on your fingers. We don't want to, you know, be spreading like salmonella and all that stuff. So definitely after you handle raw eggs, wash your hands with soap and water. Doing that right now. It's always good to have a towel around so you can dry your hands and not have to use your shirt, as I do sometimes. So you can do it in any order you want, but I'm doing eggs, pumpkin, then olive oil. Very important bit of information here. This is 100% pure pumpkin, or some people call it pumpkin puree. So it's not, which is different from the pumpkin pie filling that you might see in a can, you know, to make a pumpkin pie with. So just want to point that out. You probably could use the pumpkin pie filling, and that would probably still be good. So 3 eggs, 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin, and 1 cup of olive oil. Just those 3 items make up our wet ingredients. So I'm first going to stir it a little bit here with this spoon. And then I'm going to get a whisk out. Alright, so now we're just going to combine our wet and dry ingredients. So I'm just going to dump the dry into the wet here because it's a bigger bowl. There we go. Now same thing. First I'm just going to use the spoon to do the I guess the majority of the work to get it using the spoon to get it started, you know. And then once I get it pretty good stirred in together, then I will get the whisk out. Because when you start off with a whisk like that, it's going to be like very clumpy at first, and it's going to be getting stuck in there. So I'm going to do the majority of it here with the spoon, and then once I get it pretty incorporated, then I am going to get the whisk out. And actually, to make sure I'm getting all the clumps, I am going to use one of these handheld mixers with a whisk on the end of it, just to make sure it's mixed thoroughly. So here's the cake pan I'm using. It's one of these. I just got this one. It's a Christmas design. It's got a little snowman on there. But yeah, you basically, you loosen it up, and then basically tighten it there. There we go. So you want to push it flush like that, and then tighten it. There we go. So now there's our sealed cake pan. All right. So that's what we're baking our pumpkin cake in today. Very important though. Make sure you spray your cake pan, whatever kind of pan you're using, very good. All sides of it there. I'm going to go ahead and preheat this oven. I'm going to bake it at 325. And just to be on the safe side, I am going to put the cake pan on my big pizza pan with some parchment paper, just in case there is, some spillage there. Now keep in mind, cakes rise, so if this batter, you don't want to go much more than halfway up your pan, because it's going to rise. So if need be, I can use another cake pan. Is that a thing of beauty or what? I think this is going to be okay, this pan itself. So yeah, try to spread it evenly there. Just make sure it's even. Now here's a trick, you know, to try to get some air bubbles out. Just do that a few times. And we're ready to go in the oven. It's preheating right now, but it's okay. So 325 for 40 minutes, and we'll see what it's looking like. Smells great. Got a feeling it ain't done yet, because like I said, I cooked it lower. So we'll put it down there right in the middle. Huh. Well, yeah, it needs to go back in. Alright, 5 more minutes. Like I said, I did cook it lower, you know, at 325 instead of 3. Most people do 350, but I just wanted to do a lower temperature because, you know, just to try to avoid browning on the cake itself. Okay, it's been an additional 5 minutes, so let's get that cake out of there. Now, it probably still is going to have a little bit on there, but that's going to be okay. Because here's what I'm going to do. There's my microwave going off. It's a busy day in the kitchen with Retro. Got a barbecue chicken pizza video I'm going to be doing. So I'm kind of doing, you know, two in video. Filming 2 videos here at the same time. So let's get my other hot pad. And we'll go with this watermelon one. Okay. So I'm going to put this, get my cutting board there. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. As that cools, I'm going to repurpose this parchment paper, set it over top of the cake, and it will take longer to cool that way, but like I said, it's going to continue to bake and cook inside the cake as I'm doing that. So the parchment paper is going to keep some of that heat in there and basically help finish it off, you know. Because here's the thing. You want your cake to be moist, okay? So if you do that, if you keep leaving that cake in there in the oven until that toothpick is like dry and nothing comes on it, it's going to be a drier cake. I love a moist cake, so that's what I go for. Now, if it don't matter to you, then hey, to each their own, I guess. But I like a moist cake, and so therefore it does have a little bit on the toothpick still, but I'm gonna, you know, just leave that sit there, and I think it's gonna basically finish it off. It'll be okay by the time the cake is room temperature. And speaking of that, you definitely want your cake to be room temperature when you're putting your frosting on, because if you don't, then if that cake is still warm and you're putting the frosting on, it's gonna kind of like melt the frosting and make it a mess, and we don't want that, right? It'll be all over the place. So you definitely want your cake to be room temperature, when you're putting that frosting on. So I would say a minimum of 2 hours. After your cake comes out of the oven, wait a minimum of 2 hours before you put any icing on it. By that time, it should be okay. Okay, so we are now ready to make our banana cream cheese frosting for the pumpkin cake. So we got Philadelphia cream cheese, the whipped kind, because it's like softer, okay? And you also want to, let it sit out for a while, because it'll like soften up just that much more. Makes it easier to work with, okay? Now, if you don't want to get the whipped kind, then you just want the regular block, then you definitely need to let that sit out, because cream cheese in the block is very tough when it's cold, okay? Alright, so we got our cream cheese, get that. So let's start with that in the bowl. Alright, so yeah, that is a 8-ounce container of cream cheese. Here's a half a stick of butter, softened, definitely gotta leave that set out. And then a very ripe banana. So you can see it's definitely very ripe. Same thing, it's gonna be, it's gonna be very soft, and that's kind of what we want. The softer it is, that means it's going to be easier to mash up. And then the last of the wet ingredients is 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I definitely would recommend vanilla, real vanilla extract and not the, imitation vanilla. Alright. So what I'm going to do first here is mix all these, wet ingredients first. Get them all mixed nicely before I add the powdered sugar. Okay. Because if I just add that powdered sugar, it's going to be like kind of sticking to the bananas and the butter and all that stuff. So let's get this stuff mashed up first. All right. And like I said, I'm just doing the rough stuff right now. I am going to get the handheld mixer back out and, whip this smooth. Now, all I need to do is add a half a cup of powdered sugar. Now, I am going to do a heaping half a cup. Yeah, there we go. Heaping half a cup of powdered sugar. Alright. Okay, so we got our cake here. Okay, this thing's ready to be for the frosting now. Alright. And voila! I'm going to have to try this frosting on its own. Mmm. Oh, yeah. That's rich but good. Mm. And my finishing touch on the cake is just for appearance only, but I got some purple sanding sugar, so I want to give it a little color, right? So it's almost going to look looking sparkly. I think that's good enough. What do you think? Alright, let's cut into this thing and give it a taste. So I got my pie server here, or cake slice server, whatever you want to call it. So let's cut into this thing. Let's go about halfway down. Basically cut it like a pie. That's what I'm going to do, just to make it easy on myself. So there is our finished product. I just want to get you a side view of that cake, the actual cake. Oh yeah, that's nice and moist. See, that's the thing, you want your cake moist. Mmm. Oh yeah. Let me get a fork here. I want to dig into this thing. But yeah, you see how that's like nice and moist and you can push on it? Yeah. Alright, let's taste it out. Ho ho ho! Wow. I got it. I need another bite. I just need one. I gotta do it. That might be the moistest cake I've ever tried or ever ate. That's like a party in my mouth. Wow, that was good. It turned out really good. And that's the thing, when you... Well, first of all, before I say anything else, I'm going to have to say... Crack, boom! I knocked out a homie! And bases were loaded, and so therefore it's a grand slam. As Inspector Gadget would say, wowzers! That's, dang, that's good. But man, that cake is super moist. But yeah, don't be afraid to, when you do your toothpick test, to, for there to be a little bit on that toothpick, right? Because, as I said earlier, when you pull out of the oven, holding that heat, and it's going to hold that heat for a good at least half hour or more. Especially if you cover it like I did. That's gonna finish, you know, it's gonna finish baking itself, and by covering it, you're also keeping the moisture in there, so that's going to help it keep it moist, okay? Because if you let stuff just set out, I don't care what it is, bread, you know, donuts, whatever, if you leave it just set out uncovered, it's eventually it's going to dry out and not be as good. Okay, so that's my advice for making cakes and stuff. Okay, keep it covered. You know, cover it as it's cooling. Not that way it holds that moisture in there. But man, is this good! I can't recommend it enough. If you like pumpkin, that is. I know some people, you know, it's almost like un-American if you don't like pumpkin pie or but I know there's people out there that don't. But if you like pumpkin, you know, pumpkin pie, pumpkin whatever, as I do, I think you'd love this, right? So, can't recommend it enough if you are a pumpkin fan, as I am. But yeah, leave me some comments below. How do you think I did overall on the cake? And the icing and everything. There's some, yes, sparkly purples, right? That's just the sugar, but nice color to it. But yeah, how do you think I did? Leave me some comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But that's going to do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. But if this is your first time to the channel, tap the subscribe button down there, then the bell next to it, ding ding. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. So until next time, guys, keep it retro.